Well, morning everyone, and welcome back to the channel. For those of you who are new to the channel, this is one in our series of motorhome mods, motorhome modifications, and those of you who are regulars to the channel will know that once or twice we visited A&E Leisure in Northwich in Cheshire, who back in last year fitted our VB semi-air comfort to our A Class Mobilvetta, which has made a fantastic difference to the handling and overall use of the vehicle. But today's episode of Motorhome Mods is going to look at the addition of, or changing should I say, the front struts, the VB front FSD struts and coil springs. So we're going back to A&E Leisure, who have kindly allowed us to come in and film the addition of that front end modification. If you're thinking about doing such a modification, then keep watching, because I'll show you all the detail of it and take you through some of the other bits and pieces that you might want to look at in relation to do I, don't I, make the shift and make the change to the front end suspension of my motorhome. And that will include a look obviously at the VB website and the toolkits they've got. Toolkits in inverted commas, as in computer online toolkits that that will help you perhaps make those choices as to whether to get it done. Obviously we used, as I said earlier, we used A&E Leisure. I rang around, having decided I wanted VB rear suspension, semi-air. I rang around a number of dealers, got a lot of quotes, got the feel for who to deal with, and eventually that took me from Tenby down in West Wales, where we live, up to A&E Leisure in Cheshire. And I certainly wasn't disappointed. They were competitively priced, and their service and fitting experience has been second to none. So without further ado, this is another one of those suspension modifications, front struts and coil springs. Enjoy the film. Any questions you have, put it in the description below. I'll put links to A&E Leisure in the description below for your information. But here we go. Let's go and have a look at this system being fitted to the front of a motorhome. Incidentally, if you guys aren't aware of A&E Leisure in Northwich here in Cheshire, here we go. You can see there's a lot of industrial units here which gradually have been taken over by A&E, who have got workshops here for caravans, motorhomes, you name it, they'll work on it. They've got a shop in here with lots of goodies, camping, caravan, motorhome related stuff, a big awning section which I might give you a quick glimpse of a bit later on in the film, or when we have a break from the service, and the fitting that we're doing in there. But as you can see, they've gradually taken over most. I think there's one or two left that aren't A&E Leisure, but a good spot to come. We've used them, as some of you regulars will know. We use them to have our VB semi-air comfort fitted to our A Class Mobilvetta, and all the magic happens in here. Certainly for the motorhomes it does. Now, the van here is having VB semi-air fitted. Now, those of you who saw that VB semi film will know that the reason why we added that to ours, and the effect that it then had once it was fitted was to improve the handling at the back end of the vehicle, was to stop the wallow or the sort of left and right sway you often get going through bends of the heavier vehicles. Ours are 4.4 tonne. And it made a tremendous difference to the handling, the rear end handling, and the stability of our A Class having that VB semi put on. But what this owner is doing in addition is adding the new coils and struts to the vehicle. Now, the reason why you would do that is because, of course, being a Ducato based vehicle, then a lot of the standard suspension that is on here already will be for commercially based use. The chassis starts obviously as a commercial vehicle. In this case, though, it ends up with a motorhome on it as opposed to a delivery van or something. A Peugeot, a Citroen, a Fiat, all the same chassis. And the idea of changing the coils and the struts is to perhaps improve the comfort and the front end comfort and handling of the vehicle as a motorhome as opposed to a commercial vehicle. And therefore what these different struts and coils do is that they start to improve that front end handling of the vehicle. So of course the fact that there's VB Semi going on the back of this and there are new coils and struts going on the front of this will make a significant improvement to the way the vehicle not only handles but also of course manages some of our lovely Great British roads, which we all know and love for being pretty ropey in areas and pretty bumpy. And therefore what VB have done is they've created a suite, if you like, of options based around changing the front end coils and the struts. Now the struts are using, and you might, if you've been on the VB website at all, you might have seen that phrase FSD, frequency selective damping. So active frequency selective damping, they basically improve the quality, responsiveness and technical capabilities of the strut as opposed to the standard struts that will be, or that you'll see coming off this this Ducato based motorhome. So together with that, and indeed you can't buy certainly from A&E Leisure here, you can't, or from VB in fact, you can't buy one or the other. So the two go together. So if you were going to change your front struts using VB products, then you would be changing to the VB strut and then a choice of VB springs. So you do both together. And with the struts go a choice of 3 different types of coil, and that is the heavy, the light and the comfort. This particular one here is the comfort coil, which is the one that's going to be fitted by Aaron to this motorhome, but they also do the light one and the heavy one there. Light obviously for perhaps small camper vans or similar, but generally the comfort one is the one that's most commonly fitted to the motorhomes that come through A&E Leisure here. If you've perhaps got a very heavy, perhaps in excess of 4 ton A Class for example, it might require the heavy coil, but generally it would either be the lighter vehicle one or the one for sort of fairly standard A Class and or motorhome similar to the one on the ramp here, taking the comfort coil with the new strut. So those are the products that are going to be fitted by Aaron today. And we'll just take you through some of the fitting of that, show you a few highlights of the VB, because of course you'll know that film, and I'll reference that film in the description below there, so that as a reminder of what that process was, having the VB Semi-Air Comfort fitted. What I'll also do, as well as showing you the process of these being fitted to the motorhome here at A&E Leisure today, I'll also show you some of the paperwork that goes with it, some of the description that VB themselves would say that this addition is giving you on the front end of this vehicle, and some of the technical stuff that VB also provide and publish as part of the package that comes with these struts and new coils. So anyway, let's go and have a mooch under here. Aaron's already underway in here with the start of the VB Semi. Let's just put some light on in here. You'll remember, of course, from that other film, seeing these new bits going on already. The old dampers are off. These are standard steel leaf springs, but obviously VB Semi can be added to both the standard steel and to the composite leaf springs. And from the dampers on each side, you'll remember, comes the air lines that go up to the cab of the vehicle and give you that controllability to raise and lower the rear suspension. So that's that rear one. And then the struts and coils, which will be of course, up here you can see your existing coils and struts. Just in here, this vehicle, as you saw, is a 6-year-old Ducato base, and incidentally the springs and the struts and the coil springs can be fitted to anything back to 2007, which was where this current run of Fiat chassis were produced. Incidentally, I think when we did our VB semi-film, I'm not sure whether I showed you the comparison of the two here. That's one of the old ones that has just come off this. If we just pop that light back on again and show you the difference under here. And there we go. So that's the old versus the much more substantial newer edition. You can see therefore how even visually you can see that the difference is quite notable, and therefore that, in addition to the ability to be able to then to add air and inflate and deflate them to get the right comfort depending on weight in the vehicle or just what you sort of prefer and what feels better when you actually drive it, makes it such a great addition, the VB Semi-Air. It really was a huge change to the driving of our A Class Mobilvetta. And while I'm on the subject of improving various parts, be it front or rear, there are so many options. VB as a company offer, of course, the Semi-Air. We've just talked about the springs and the front struts, but of course you can also do the rear as well. You can do rear struts, rear springs. You could do, instead of having the Semi-Air Comfort, the ones where you can inflate and deflate yourself from the dashboard that Aaron will be fitting the controls of during the course of today, you could also have the basic. So for about half the price, if you don't want that controllability from the dashboard of the vehicle, you could just have the addition of your pieces at the back here, which would then perhaps improve that quality or handling of the rear of your vehicle, but of course for a lot less money than the full Semi-Air Comfort suspension. So it's worth picking the phone up to A&E, to James here at A&E Leisure, to discuss not only, of course, what the various properties or handling of your vehicle is, but also how to resolve those issues and the budget options to resolve those issues. So it could be in fact no air suspension at all. It could just be struts or coil springs. If you do the struts, remember you must have the springs, but you can, on the other way around, you can just change the springs. So if you wanted to change the struts, you must have the new VB springs, but you can just change the springs without the struts. So there's a huge menu of alternatives, be it from full air, which is, as you know, 7, 8, 9,000, full air, all four wheels, massive change in the vehicle, right down to, say, just the spring modification, which would be at the other end of the budget scale. And so while we're talking about it, let me just show you the VB site and how they would, or how their website can help you to choose or start to choose what you might want to do to your vehicle. And then the best way to fill in all the gaps then that you might have, or somebody to talk about it, would then be to pick up the phone to somebody like James here, who knows VB and knows motorhomes inside out, to say, right, this is what I'm thinking about. And I've been on VB's site and think I might need this. Is that something you can do? And of course, don't forget as well, your motorhome doesn't have to end up on the ramp in A&E Leisure. You can do supply only from A&E Leisure, so you could just get the parts here. There's obviously some systems, like say the Full Air, that of course need computer calibration and setting up and all that, which of course can't be supply only. But there are things like the springs, say, or the struts or whatever, or even VB Basic that can be supply only. So you know, there's a huge menu of options here which A&E could take you through and can help you with in respect of your motorhome. So let's have a quick look at the website, and then we'll get back to Aaron, and I think he's just about to start some of the front strut work. So website first, and then we'll be back to have a look at the front struts and coils. So this is the VB suspension website, and I thought I'd drop a link in. There's a couple of links in the description below this film that will take you to these pages. This first one is quite a useful one, and again one we used when we were starting that journey of looking for improving the ride and handling of our Fiat Ducato. It's a 2021 A Class, and once you've hit this page, it gives you an option here to find your suspension solution. You can go into that. We've got a Fiat Ducato, but obviously you can see there you've got all your choices of different vehicles, all types of vehicle. Ours is a 2021, so you can put your own data in there. You can select the problem, and I've put in there a couple, but you can check and uncheck multiple choices to see what you want. So if we put instability, I've checked there, feels uneven, bumps felt. You can see though, as we scroll down the options, there's the ability to lift the vehicle, give it more ground clearance, the ability to uprate if you wanted to, if that was something you were thinking of doing, to upgrade the gross vehicle weight. So generally quite a few options there. So we've checked 2 or 3 there. Let's just see what it says. So you then click on see the options. It gives you the sort of top 3, if you like. Those are Full Air for the van, and then if you can then additionally click on this see all solutions, and it gives you a number of choices. So what it also allows you to do is to also have a look at the cost comparison, so you can work out, you know, where your budget might fit. There are of course things that, you know, you could start perhaps by dealing with some suspension on the front, like we're looking at today, the installation of springs and struts at the front of a vehicle. You could perhaps do that on one occasion, and then perhaps come back at a future date when you saved a few more pennies, you know, to perhaps add to that system, and perhaps do the semi-air comfort, for example, like we did. So we've obviously got an option, perhaps now that we've got semi-air, to then go down the line of the front springs and struts, the one marked there. So if, for example, we drop onto that, that's the installation we're looking at today, and it gives you information there about the product. So a very helpful website. It can be tailored, and with the other page I'll show you in a moment, it can be tailored and show you the sort of cost you're looking at, so you can work out those budget points that you're interested in. And yeah, well worth a mooch round the VB suspension website if you get a moment. So, and then on another link, which I'll pop down in the description below, it then takes you to this, where you can search by, you can see there, you can search by motorhome. On the same page, it's got information on each of their sort of flagship products, if you like, all with different price points. But if we then use the search by motorhome system, click on that, that takes us into those, where you can see all of the options there. You can check out which one you want. If we drop into Ducato, you can see that it starts to narrow down all of your options. Full air there. Front suspension, the front coil springs and struts that we're looking at today at A&E Leisure, looking at the installation of those. But generally, and of course more particularly, as you can see, you've got some ideas of price there. So it's a really useful website, and was very informative when we were starting to think about, you know, which way we'd go to improve some of the handling characteristics of the vehicle, and it just helped us to get to that VB semi-air comfort, which is the system we chose at that time, about 18 months ago now, when we had it installed. Okay, let's get back to the workshop and let's see this front springs, front struts replacement installed here at A&E Leisure. So up on the near side, and with the removal of a couple of panels from the inside, you can see the top end of the strut just accessible there with its corresponding bolts. However, over the other side there, where Aaron is, on the driver's side, it's slightly more challenging to get to, which I'll show you when we get around there. So, and over the driver's side here, you can see we've got this massive fuse box, obviously, so the fuse box has to be undone, dragged out the way, and then that gives us access to the top of this driver's side strut. So if I just lift the camera right up, you'll see you can just see there now with the fuses out the way that you can get at the top of the driver's side strut. There we go, first wheel off. Gives us access into the strut and the spring. Makes it look so easy, doesn't it, Aaron? I suppose if you've got the these amazing facilities, then it probably is easier. So Aaron's just popping on the spring compressor there to enable to get the old one off. So the roll bar disconnected, struts now loosened off, springs are compressed, almost ready to fiddle out the near side one. And this is the tricky bit, is getting the old strut out without, of course, making sure that the disc doesn't tilt too far out and pull out the drive shaft, which is definitely something you don't want. So it's a case of supporting the disc, but getting it and fiddling it far enough down to release the old strut. Because the only thing stopping the drive shaft coming out is making sure this doesn't drop too far out. Rather than me doing that bit, I have to say. And a two-person job for that bit. There goes the old one. Old one out, new one to be heading in shortly. So there's the old one set up, ready to take off the head, gripped up, compressed so that we can get the top nut off there, ready to loosen. And on with the new, look at those, lovely bright blue colour. And there you go, just visually you can see the difference here, that extra ride, extra lift that the front end of the van's now going to get with the new one. Those are, incidentally, as a reminder, those are the comfort option that we've gone for here. There's the new one being compressed so that they can get the new FSD strut fitted with the old head unit that we took off the old one. There's the colour coding, incidentally, that's the original coil spring, and that's the colour coding, the combination of 2 yellow and 1 blue, that indicates what sort of weight coil spring that actually is from the original Fiat chassis. And incidentally, if you fancy taking on fitting them yourself, then this is the issue, that if you don't possess one of these machines to compress the spring, you're going to have a big challenge getting a new one fitted. So yeah, that's worth its weight in gold, that spring, that device for compressing the spring. So there we go, all top unit, new coil spring, new FSD strut, very nice too. So onto the driver's side, got the existing spring is compressed, and just dropping down the disc brake, disconnecting the roll bar and sliding this downwards so that we can release the strut there. A good old tussle to get the old one out. Second old out, second new going in.
Got you.
There's the old. And the offside going in there.
No, I mean, what is it?
So that's the second wheel back on. And the other important thing that they do is that they've wound all the nuts up that's supplied with the kit, but then they'll also get the van down onto weight bearing as well, and then re-torque all the nuts whilst it's under its own weight, to make sure everything's tightened up and torqued correctly. It's all these little touches that they do here at A&E that when we had ours VB done certainly impressed me. Their attention to sort of the detail of all of the fitting process itself was really good to see. So now, just as a guide, we measured from the top of the wheel arch here down to the Fiat logo, centre of the Fiat logo, before we swapped the springs, and it measured 455 mil to the centre of the Fiat, word Fiat. And now you can see there that we're just showing about 520 to the centre of the word Fiat, or just under 520. So it's about, if one said 515, about 60 mil basically. So 60 mil extra lift that's created by putting on the FSD struts and the springs. So what that helps to do is it's created the ability of the spring to travel further, and therefore to soften the impact of bumps or irregularities in the road, together with the fluid that's used within the strut itself, and the combination of those two with that extra lift there can then improve the handling and or smooth out the surface, smooth out the ride, shall we say, of the vehicle, as well as improving handling. So an interesting mod, that, definitely an interesting mod. So Aaron's just been round, and now that the van is bearing its own weight, torqued up these nuts, marked them as well as torqued, And we're almost done with the front struts now and coil springs. Well, and that's halfway to one very happy customer. Just got the final part of the job, which of course you'll know from our other film of the airlines being connected up to the dashboard. As the final part of the VB Semi-Air, and then that will be all of the modifications done on this fabulous roller team motorhome. And what a difference that'll be when he drives away from here, I can assure you. So I hope that's given you an insight into another mod that you could do to your motorhome here at A&E Leisure. And if any of that interests you, then of course, as always, James or Nathan or the team here at A&E in the office here on the phones would give you any advice or guidance you may want in terms of which of these amazing systems you could add to your motorhome. Remembering that website there, it gives you a menu of options. You can put in what you're trying to improve on your motorhome, and it will give you some options. And now this starts to give you an idea of perhaps what it might cost, and the excellent facilities here at A&E where you could come and get the work done for you if you didn't fancy doing it yourself. And I definitely wouldn't fancy compressing those springs myself at all. And there you go. Promised I should give you a quick glimpse of what's inside. If you haven't seen our other films from here, some of the awnings that they've got on display here, 2 levels here at A&E. So while you're having your mods done to your van, you can come and tinker and have a look at a few more bits and pieces for your van. Lots of van bling here, I can assure you. Cadaks. And then downstairs, plenty more stuff down here as well. Look at that lot. Van bling to keep you occupied while you wait for your suspension to be modified. Fantastic. So I need to go away and make a decision now myself. Do we go for the front end mods and swap the struts and springs? Anyway, I'll let you know if we do, and I'll let you know costs, and of course all the usual stuff if we go ahead and have that mod done to the Mobilvetta. And in the meantime, I hope that insight into the fitting of those has been of use to you. If you want to know anything, then do drop it in the comments below. Any questions? If I can't answer them, I'll certainly find out the answer for you from here, from the team here at A&E. And of course, many thanks indeed for watching, as always, and we'll see you in the next episode.